right, here's our chosen ones. We'll discuss in our discussion about how close we are on solution 1. And we've already implemented part of solution 2. And so we'll talk about the success of that with our parent involvement.
Oh, by the way, what Dr. Allen said, you can get rid of the small bullet there by just simply putting it in with the tier 3 intervention, with small group instruction, monthly math nights for parents, and that takes care of the issue.
And
okay.
one of the things that we want to talk about with our tier 3 intervention is we feel like there's a need for some specific curriculum that the math teachers or Title I or whoever is going to be doing this pull-out, that they could have a specific curriculum to follow when they do tier 3 intervention in math. Right now in reading, we have a very specific program. The students who receive tier 3 intervention are pulled out by Title I teachers Title I teachers into small group settings, and they use the Reading Horizons program where it's very scripted, exactly what they need to do to help kind of fill in some of those deficits. And so we're kind of looking for a way that we can help fill in those deficits in math in a similar way.
And the system's moving towards that. Just recently, I know we've already looked and I've spoken with Ms. Barnett, so we know that there is a need for that, and we're looking at a couple. So.
Because our kids, I know my class in particular, there are some kids in my classroom who can't add. I mean, and that's in 5th grade, yes. I had a new student come to me back last Friday, she cannot add. I cannot fix that solely in my classroom with everything else in the curriculum that I have to teach. So that's what we're saying. We need more individualized, specific, explicit instruction for these kids who their deficits are so far different from my curriculum that I'm trying to teach. Because even if I were to continuously pull her to small group, there's such a gap in her knowledge and in, anything mathematical that I cannot fix it by myself. In a year, it would take multiple years to get her to where she is, where she needs to be, without some additional assistance in that specific curriculum.
And then our solution 2, we've already implemented this. This is my favorite one. So excited about this one. As you can see our pictures, look how excited they are. They came, we had like between 125 and 150 parents and students come. At least half of the kids in each one of our 10 classrooms, well, we had more than half, came and brought their siblings and their parents and even their grandparents. So it was a great success for us. We're so excited. We covered a lot of skills. And you can just see there that we're just very excited about this portion. And what we're going to do is, well, I think that's on another slide, I'll go ahead and say it. We're going to do it not just once, but we're going to do it every 9 weeks. And then they can see exactly what we're working on during that 9 weeks, the skills that we're covering and that kind of thing, because we've got all kind of hands-on, take-home activities for the parents. And we just got some great feedback on that night. So we're excited about that. Yes.
All right, step 9. I'm going to give in some very detailed information on how we will actually implement these solutions. Now, granted, this is what we would like to see happen. Is it necessarily going to happen? Maybe. Is it necessarily going to happen next year? Maybe not. It may take several years, but this is what we see would be beneficial to our school system and our school. Exactly. To get us a little push in the right direction. So for solution 1, which is the tier 3 intervention, a little bit more help. How we would do this, we'd start at the very beginning of the school year, which we already do. We would discuss how we would want to implement this. We, of course, have not ironed out all the kinks in this. You've got to look at scheduling, you've got to look at the amount of students, there's a lot that you have to look at before you can ever implement this. And who is responsible for this? This would be using our RTI team, our administrative assistant for mathematics. That's Ms. Barnett's new title. I texted her and asked her what that new title was. And so that is her new title. After we did that, kind of got a game plan, we would come back together after our first benchmark test. We would discuss the students in need of support, how many, what they might need, you know, if there's special needs, everything about them. And that would be, the people responsible with that would be the RTI team, as well as the classroom teachers, because who knows the students best? Those are the classroom teachers. They know their needs. And then how we would do this, what we're looking at is it would be 45 minutes a day. We have built into our schedule an intervention acceleration block. This is at Pinecrest. I'm not sure about y'all. But during our intervention acceleration block, this is when students are pulled out of our classroom, as well as this is where students are going to different classrooms for levelized instruction. So we feel this would be a good time for that pull-out math instruction. A little extra dip for that specific curriculum for them. And so it would be, like I said, small group intensive instruction. Who's responsible for this? Title I teachers, as well as classroom teachers.
And the only difference there with our K2, our teachers teach every subject.
Right.
We're not departmentalized. So there are opportunities for that acceleration and that enrichment within the grade levels, and we have a schedule built for
When we
that
talk
as
about
well.
acceleration, what do you call an acceleration? Because a different argument for acceleration and remediation. And the argument is that you no longer remediate, you accelerate all low learners. It's a big argument for it. And that
That's the way to look at it.
That's a great
I
one.
haven't heard that.
Not just acceleration of the top,
That-
but
that's
Right.
acceleration of all the
Acceleration.
board.
Would it be a different
I like that
education
thought,
when
that
it's not just the kids?
Right.
And I think that is, I think we are, I
We
think
talk a lot about
we
it
do,
here.
and it's in our early literacy groups. I'm also an ELG teacher where I go into the classrooms to work with small groups of children instead of pulling out. And I see every child in the room. So I'm not just seeing those that need additional support that are low. We're giving them that push for not just remediation, but acceleration.
And I love that, especially having a baby over at Indian Valley, that you're able to meet not only a child that's struggling, but somebody that, like my child, that's accelerating.
Right.
This is it right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is my baby again. Solution 2, we took pictures that night and just, I don't know, I can't emphasize enough what a great success it was, but the skills that they participated in were like measurement, time intervals, they made clocks and did a lapse time, which is a hard skill, very, very hard. But when they get to make clocks and they get to move their hands on the clocks and they get it. Geometry attributes, all kinds of skills that we covered that night. And our teachers were responsible for it. As you can see, our math teachers, and we had 100% participation. We even had some teachers in other grade levels come and help us out, but it was mostly a 3rd grade night. And, but anyway, we just
It was
got a lot
kind
of
of
joy
like
out of it.
almost a test night to kind of see how it would go. Because now, of course, they were kind of like the leaders of it. We have math and literacy nights in 4th and 5th grade. We've done it this year. Ours were not I know ours in 5th grade were not as successful because we didn't have as much participation.
Well,
So,
we did it like
it's-
a carnival.
yes.
We had a big top, a big tent.
And so it was
we
more
fed them
exciting.
too. We gave
Yes.
them food.
Always feel.
It was fun, I'm not gonna lie.
Feed them, they'll come.
I do.
Yes.
Okay, step 10, evaluate the implementation through a multi-data-based evaluation, design on detailed plans for such evaluation. Okay, and for the assessment task, again, for the Tier 3 acceleration growth. I like that a lot. For those students, for us to see that they have made adequate growth, of course, we're going to look at our classroom assessments for the formative and summative, but, go back to me. But ultimately, it's going to be from the Scantron benchmark assessments during these dates, September, January, and May, to show us if they have made adequate growth or not.
And to see how this is the major assessment we will use to see if our solutions are working.
And step 11 is to modify, adjust the implementation as needed once we start and after one school year.
And that's it.
So, and there's two, we decided,
We're gonna shorten this one up at
Yes.
JSU.
No, I mean, that's step 11 is the last step of the process.
Yes.
But
So
here's the content.
yes, we're gonna have, we decided we would do 2 checkpoints during the school year, one in January and one in May. And we would, again, look, do our stakeholder survey on the solution success. We want to know what they feel about it. And then we, off of that, we want to adjust our tier 3 process and instruction based on the feedback that we receive.
It simply rolls along.
It does.
Good work, though.
Okay, here we go.
That's all.
With all this, hang on.
This is fun.
With all this talk about math proficiency and everything, we thought it'd be fun for y'all to try to solve a problem. So here it is right here. Right here it is right here, and right here. So try to do it. It says move just one stick to fix the equation. Hold that thought. And if y'all need to work together, y'all feel free.
Take it to a turn and talk.
You sure
Let
can.
Dr. Evers show them how to do the.
Okay, Dr. Abner can come on up to the board and show us one solution.
Here's your pen.
He does.
Okay.
So one solution that you've already got. Let's see if he's right. Okay, he's
Take
gonna
it left
take
side.
off
Okay,
that.
8 minus
8
4.
minus 4
So
is
you'll have
4.
8 minus 4
Okay.
is 4, that's 1. Okay, do y'all see that? Dr.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, I
all right,
see that,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, have y'all
Look
got
at
one?
one step over. That's all you need to do. I wanted to do something to make one of them.
That's not a number.
How can you make them twos? Can you make a two?
I'll just give you a hint, 2's
How
not in
about
there.
a
It's not in there.
Hang on, give him a chance, give him a chance.
That right there, look at that, right there.
I would do what he did.
Okay, see if you can move this one, Dr. Allen, move that one and see what happens. Just move it.
Turn it, let's
turn.
rotate.
Zero.
So 0 plus 4, and there's one more, there's one more.
Oh, dear.
There's one more.
You ready?
See, I still got that.
Okay, he's moving it to make it a 5, and then it becomes a 9.
5 plus 4 is 9.
It took me only forever to keep looking at it online. And I finally got it when I walked in here.
You know, you talk about hands-on, how important that is.
Thank you so much for
If I had
It
zero,
was awesome.
I was scratching my brain, looking at it online. I could never get it until I walked in here and I saw it on the board.
I don't see it as well.
All right.
It's fun.
That last
They just solved the
That's great. We've been having fun in here.
We have.
Okay, she's
and
back there. She just.
I thought I saw it, yeah.
So guys, if we've learned anything from participating in our cohort, it's
Alone we are smart, together we are brilliant.
Well, what an experience this has been for us.